everybody, my name is Holly and today I'm going to take you through a sequence that is designed to help to build a bit of core strength and awareness of what the core is and how it can support you in general. So often when people complain that they have lower back pain, whether they've been walking, standing, sitting, lifting, all sorts of different movement-based activities, what that pain could actually be coming from is a lack of support from the core, which is, we tend to think of as having a flat stomach or having a six-pack as being core strength, but there's actually quite a lot more going on. So first thing that we're going to do is just come to any comfortable seat. You could sit cross-legged on the ground or even sit in a chair with the feet on the floor and start to close down the eyes and just take a couple of breaths here. So maybe the first deep breaths that you've taken so far today, inhale and exhale. And just notice the length of the breath in. And see if you can smooth out the exhale so it's even a little bit longer than the inhale. And just doing that a couple more times. And really actively notice if you're holding any tension anywhere in the body here, and particularly around the stomach. So we want to fully relax that, like we're getting a nice big Buddha belly. Again, we inhale and exhale. And from there, with the next breath in, just going to, at the same time, start to very gently lift the pelvic floor muscles. So we can visualize almost like an elevator going up to the first or second floor, and then on the exhale, we release it back down to ground level. So these are the muscles that basically stop us from peeing when we don't want to pee. So as we inhale, it's not like you're squeezing for your life, but just about a 30% lift from those muscles. Like you're kind of trying not to pee, and then exhale, release. And this time we're going to inhale, lift the pelvic floor, and at the same time now we're going to start to draw the lower belly in. So we're drawing the navel towards the spinal column a little bit. And then exhale, release that. And then just coming back to your natural breath, we slowly blink open the eyes. We're going to take all of that and lay down onto our backs and start with a little bit of movement. So just coming to lay down, we'll take the knees up towards the ceiling, and we'll take one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest here. And so the feet are about hip width apart. And as we inhale now, we're going to feel first the bottom hand, so feel into the belly, then lift the chest, and exhale, release both. And then as we inhale, same thing now, so feeling that pelvic floor start to lift. It might feel a bit different now that you're laying onto the back. Lower belly engages a little bit as we breathe into the chest, and then exhale, release it all out. And from there, taking the hands just down outside the hips, we're going to start to bring the knees into a bit of an alignment over the hips here. So if we start to take the knees towards the chest, you probably won't find that the belly and the core need to do so much work. So maybe even just by staying here in this position, you'll start to feel the lower abdominals engage and the pelvic floor is lifting consciously to support that movement. And we're trying to press here the lower back down into the ground. So if it's already starting to peel off and you're kind of arching the spine a little bit, take the knees closer towards the chest to give yourself a bit more support. And from there, we're just going to take an inhale, begin to very slowly, with no momentum and only using the core, roll the knees towards the chest. And then as we exhale, we're going to tip them away from us again. Very small movements here. Again, inhale, taking them towards the chest. The hips might start to lift off a tiny little bit at the end, and exhale, roll away. And 2 more times like that. Inhale. Draw pelvic floor in and up. Feel a sense of lift from the core. Exhale. Inhale. Draw the knees towards you. Really press the lower back down onto the ground beneath you. Exhale, roll away. And from there, taking the arms out to a T shape. We're going to extend the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. It doesn't matter here if the legs are straight or bent, we're not worried about that. I'm just taking again a deep breath in, feel the belly, and exhale, sigh out. And from there, as we inhale, lifting pelvic floor, drawing the navel towards the spinal column, and then we're going to exhale, start to tip the feet towards the right hand side, so pushing down through both hands, and make sure that your left shoulder is still plugged into the ground. We're only going down to about 45 degrees, and then we inhale, come back up through center. So with all of these movements, we're only going as far as we're able to slowly control. We exhale towards the left this time. So right shoulder head pressing into the ground, and then inhale back through center. And 1 more each side. Exhale over to your right. Feel the belly working. Inhale through center. Exhale. Take it to the left. And inhale back. And from there, we'll hug the knees into the chest. And just roll from one side to another across the lower back. So it can be nice to give a little bit of a self-massage here around the lower back and the outer hips. You could even take some circles with the knees to the ceiling. Couple one direction, couple the other direction. Ease out any little tight spots. And from there, starting to hug the knees towards the chest again. This time take the hands just behind the backs of the thighs. We're going to start to rock and roll. Taking 3 or 4 rocks here to reach a seat at the top of the mat. So build a bit of momentum, then cross the ankles, plant the hands, and step it back to find a tabletop position here. And so we're going to stack the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees. And you can just take a few rocks forward and back here to kind of ease into this shape. And establish a nice firm foundation by spreading the fingers wide. And keep a micro bend in the elbows here, so particularly if you're prone to hyperextension of the elbows, which looks like this, we want to keep a micro bend there. And from there, we're going to start to take the right toes to the back of the mat. And before we do anything else here, we're going to see if we can tuck the tailbone a little bit to bring the pelvis into alignment and switch those core muscles on. So you might start to feel the belly working here. And we're going to see if we can identify a point between the shoulder blades and push that up to the ceiling. So we're creating what's called a protraction through the shoulder blades. And from there, as we inhale, we're going to lift that right heel just so that it's in line. And make sure that the right hip head is still facing down towards the ground, so the pelvis is level. We don't want to open up to the side here like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. So keeping the pelvis nice and level towards the ground. Now if this is strong enough for you, you're going to keep both hands planted. Otherwise, if you're feeling pretty good and pretty stable, you're going to extend the left fingertips out in front of you. Gaze towards that left thumb and take an inhale, lift out of the waist and push away from the ground. And from there, exhale to tiger curl. So we take the elbow, the knee and the forehead all to the same direction. And then inhale, re-extend. And so lots of expression through the fingers and the flexed toes down towards the ground. Exhale, roll in. Lift the knee up a little bit higher. Inhale, extend. 1 more like that. Exhale. Inhale. to the ground. And just find a gentle child's pose here for a moment, a couple of breaths. So you can completely let the forehead release down. And just let all of the weight out of the arms. Release those core muscles for a moment. And then coming back to that tabletop, and we'll take it to the opposite side. This time left toes will extend out behind you. Again, see if you can protract a little bit into those shoulders. And feel already that the belly is starting to engage, lift up a little bit. And then inhale that left heel back up behind you. Option to stay here with both hands planted. Make sure that you're not lifting the foot up too high as well. So we're not trying to arch into the back here. We're really trying to keep a neutral spine. And then we'll extend, if it's okay, on the balance, the right fingertips out in front. Smile at your fingertips. And take an inhale here, get long in both directions. And then exhale. Elbow meets the knee, meets the forehead. Inhale. Exhale. Nice slow movements, match the movement to the breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, find length. Last one here, exhale. Inhale to re-extend. And exhale to release. Again, find a child's pose here for a moment. Just a couple of breaths, let everything soften down. And then starting to work up towards the top of the mountain for our little sequence today. I'm going to come back to that tabletop. And this time we're going to tuck under the toes. Really make sure that you're spreading the fingers nice and wide here. Again, keep that little micro bend into the elbows. And as we inhale, we're going to start to pick up the knees and just float them a couple of inches off the ground. Now, if you can, rather than letting the head collapse and round down, see if you can push the back of the neck up so that you're keeping that neck nice and long and elongated. Breathing here for 3. Draw the belly in. Draw the side ribs in. The side abdominals in. 2. Shaking is good. Lift the pelvic floor. And 1, start to pick up the hips so that they're lifting nice and high. Walk the hands forward to find a bit more length. And we'll find a downward facing dog here. And we can keep the knees really bent here. So again, we're not interested in whether or not the legs are straight. Just trying to get a bit of length from the top of the hips all the way down to the shoulders and the fingertips. And take an inhale here. Exhale, sigh out through the mouth. And here we go, ready for our peak pose. Start to ripple the weight forward. So we're coming to a high plank position now. Now, if this is going to be too strong for you, up on the wrists or the hands, you can lower the knees down to the ground and still keep pushing the ground away. Keep the chest open and keep that pelvis tucking under. Otherwise, extending up onto the toes. Push the heels towards the back. Gaze forward. Try to smile. Draw the belly in. Lift everything in and up. And so we're thinking we're one long line from the heels all the way up to the back of the neck. 2 more breaths here. 1. And on the exhale, starting to bend the elbows lower all the way down to the belly as slow as you can. Whew. Touch down. Release the hands out behind you and just turn the head to the side, so resting the ear onto the ground. Close the eyes and take a rest here for a moment. Come back to the breath. Let those planks go. And feel good about yourself for building this strength, taking this time. And from there, we'll just find a gentle counter pose. We'll take a Sphinx pose here, so we just bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. And we can relax the back body here, kind of shimmy the hips from one side to another. And we're just aiming to gently open this collarbone and sternum area. And for a couple of breaths here, again, we can close down the eyes. Just a little bit of a stretch for the front body. And then planting the hands underneath the shoulders. And pick ourselves back up. And we're going to come back to that comfortable seated position that we took at the start. And this time it could be nice to place the palms facing down on top of the knees, so we give ourselves a bit of strength, sense of grounding and support. Just come back to that inhale through the nose. And that long, deep exhale. As you sit here, notice if there's any differences in how you feel now until when you began. Maybe you do feel a bit more of a warmth or a heat that you've built around this core area. And taking your final inhale here. Exhale, let everything go. And slowly blink, open the eyes. So thanks very much for taking that short sequence with me. I hope that you found it helpful. It's giving you a little bit more of awareness of those muscles. Any of those exercises you could do for longer, for shorter, for more repetitions. It's a great way to warm up the body at the start of the day and just promote that sense of core strength, which really can help us in so many different areas of our lives to keep the spine and the whole body healthy and strong. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a comment, like and subscribe, and let me know if there are any other sort of practices that you would be interested in seeing, and I'll do my best to oblige. Thanks very much, guys. Namaste.